I'm Ariel Schmidt, owner of Tranquility Rising here in Blue Ash, Ohio. We're just above Cincinnati, and I'm really excited to introduce one of our newest practitioners at Tranquility Rising. This is Kimberly Patterson, and she's going to tell you a little bit more about who she is and her process of how she arrived at what she does. So go ahead, Kim.
Okay, thank you, Ariel. Again, my name is Kimberly. I was just recently adopted by Chief Golden Light Eagle, and he had given me a name of Wanagi Omani Washdewin, which means good woman who walks with the spirits. I think the next question was how I found this path.
Yeah, so tell us a little bit about maybe the very beginning, and then cliff note us into how you came all the way to today, because obviously you've been doing so many different trainings and spirit walks and all of that. Like, we could probably talk all day, and maybe we'll do that another interview.
Perfect. Okay, yeah, well, you know, when you people say that they get the calling or they hear that they need to go to a certain direction. I found myself in Sedona on 10-10-10 with a group of people I didn't know. So it was a leap of faith, and it was the most magical life transforming that I ever had. As soon as we got off of the airplane, we got into a van, we went to my very first sweat lodge, and then we were off to the Crystal Caves and to the Seven Sisters, and it was just life-changing. I can remember standing at the edge of Airport Mesa, and at that time my spirit name was Raven Pinewood. So sometimes you'll see my people call me Raven, and that's why, because all through your life and through your spiritual earth walk, your name will change with wherever you are at on your path. So at that time, I was known as Raven Pinewood. And I can remember standing there, and I walked over to the very edge, and there were 4 ravens that came up, and they flew like right in front of me, and the wind just picked up, and I just stood there with my arms open, and the wind just blew, and it's like I have goosies right now.
I'm getting goosebumps just listening to this.
Yeah. So that was the pivotal moment where I knew that this was going to be the way of my life forever. So fast forward, you know, it's like what I tell my clients, you know, when you start this path, you'll be presented with doors, and it's up to us whether we walk through those doors or not. So after Sedona, I found my door of the shamanic, Celtic shamanic practice. So I went through a 4-year apprenticeship there. And at the same time, I found the Oneness University from India. So that was Sri Anama Bhagavan. In 2009, I was initiated as a Oneness blessing giver. So I know I kind of flip-flopped that a little bit, but yeah, it's all good. It's all on this path. So that's where I became the Oneness blessing giver and initiate, and have gone through many processes developing that skill and that mindset and leading those meditations. Those I've been leading since 2009.
Yes, and you recently just added them to the schedule at Tranquility Rising. So it's the first Tuesday every month at 6:45. Mm-hmm. So that's exciting. I'm really excited for that.
Yeah, me too. It's good. It's good to be back doing those monthly again. You know, when we're on a spiritual path, sometimes we just have to take a break. And at the beginning of the year, I was feeling like I just needed to be the bear and go into the cave and take care of myself and do some self-maintenance. And then to be able to emerge after Sundance in June to be able to fully, you know, offer everything.
Right. Which is exactly when you came full-time into Tranquility Rising.
Yep, exactly.
Right after Sundance. So yeah. So one of your offerings, or I should say your main offering at Tranquility Rising outside of our workshops and whatnot, is Shamanic Reiki. And so most people have heard of Reiki, but now to add Shamanic Reiki, can you kind of break down maybe what is traditional Reiki and what makes yours a little bit more special?
Well, that's an interesting question because I don't practice traditional Reiki.
Okay.
I've been initiated into two, and I always forget the second one, so I have to read the name of it. It's the Amparo Wichapi Wakahan, which is the way of the morning star.
Okay.
It's more of a galactic feel to it and energy. And then also with the traditional. So I combined those two. Go back and just say, what does the word shaman mean?
Yes.
So the word shaman comes from the Tungus tribe in Siberia. And it's not just specific to like Native Americans. So there's Celtic shamans, and there's many different broad ranges of shamans.
Right.
And typically that is a name that is earned, not necessarily saying I'm a shaman. You know, it's up to your community to deem you that respectfully.
Right.
So that's why I say I'm a practitioner. So as a respect to the indigenous tribes and all of the shamans and medicine men out there. That's one of the reasons why we say shamanic practitioner. It literally means a spiritual healer, or one who knows, or one who can see in the dark. So what that means is that through a theta or beta state, we have the ability to go into different realms and work with the spirits and bring back information, and be able to really dive deep into what our client needs. And and honestly, I'm a conduit. So when Kimberly is checked out and connected to the divine, is what we spirit divine, then they work through me for the best and highest good for the client. So I think I explained that.
Yeah, no, I think that's a great explanation, because I think most of the practitioners at Tranquility Rising, we have so many different modalities that we've learned from, that we have truly created our own unique offering, because that's how it arrived for us and through spirit. Right. So yeah, it's definitely a different, unique experience. So let's dive a little bit into maybe what that looks like when someone comes in for session then. Sure. And maybe that will give them a better idea of what they might expect. So like if I was your new client, we spend what, 2.5 hours together potentially?
Yes, a new client, we need at least 2.5 hours. And the reason is because it's like this. If you have a symptom, you go to the doctor for a sign and symptom. Okay. And they will give you a pill to take care of that, to release maybe the sinus, headache, or whatever kind of ailment that you're experiencing at that time.
For sure.
So what I do is, we will, in conversation, we will get down and deep into maybe what might be causing that energetically. And this is, maybe you're 40 years old, okay, and you just didn't happen to have this condition, right? Diabetes or thyroid or whatever. It's taken you 40 years to get to this time in your life, and your body, through the way that we have treated it, is just now trying to speak to you very loudly of what it needs. So maybe this happened in utero, or maybe it happened when you were 2. Something happened which blocked some energy in your body, but it's just now showing up now. You've ever, maybe somebody who has had trouble or has a fear of water. Okay.
For sure. There's always one.
Okay. So that might have happened through a trauma, maybe when they were just newborn and mom let them slip into the water and they lost their breath a little bit. They don't remember that, but that could have happened then. Or it could have happened in maybe a previous life. And what I do is, well, the spirits and I, we can go back to that time and find those instances and pieces. And also through conversation, if I can pull that information out of you, we can work with that. Does that make sense?
100%. It makes full sense to me, because being able to tangibly touch the meridian lines, I have that awareness of like where people are stuck. So you're taking it to one level further. So if clients are working with me specifically and I'm like, you know, this line is just stuck and everything we've thrown at it is not working, I think, you know, a session with Kim would be really beneficial to maybe journey into that space that we can't touch on the physical plane.
Right, right. And then, you know, and of course, with the meridians, you know, I work with the meridians as well. So when you, after you see Ariel, that's amazing, because your meridians have already been worked up and they're clear for the most part. Just need the maintenance.
Yes.
But, you know, and then with the Reiki, when you are receiving that energy, it can just affect your cell or your body that much more deeper.
Yeah. I always say it's like clearing out the air bubbles that I couldn't get to.
Yeah.
It's like they just keep slipping away from me, but Kim can find them.
And to chase them a little while. But...
I know sometimes.
Yeah.
So when someone, after they sit down with you and, you know, we have these assessment times that can vary from, you know, 30 minutes to potentially an hour or longer, depending on the client. Once we get their history, what happens then? We go to the massage table, but then what happens for your actual process of delivering that Reiki piece?
Okay, it's like what I have to explain this to the clients anyway, because I don't want to scare them to death.
Sure.
You know,
I don't want to do that.
So, as a Reiki practitioner, the energy flows through the hands, okay, and through the heart. Now, with the shamanic aspect to everything, you know, I might use a drum, okay, I might use singing bowls, I might use a bell, I might use sacred rocks from Peru. You know, it all depends on what's being called to me to use. I might use a bell. Sometimes there's some stuck energy deep inside, and the only way to get it out is just to really, you know, bang it out, you know, and get its attention. Is like loosen it up, and then it's like, nope, okay, you're out of here, we don't need this anymore. And then anything that's removed is replaced with the divine love and light. So yeah, also another thing that is quite common is that you will we have the 7 major energy chakras that we that most people are aware of. I work with the 11 and make sure that they are completely energized and going in the same direction. If they are not, that is one way that we can have disease show up in our body as well. Also, the mending of your auric fields. Also, we will make sure, and that's part of the discussion, if there's any cords that need to be properly cut. A lot of people I hear will be like, yeah, I cut those cords. And I'm like, oh no, you just created a bunch of chaos in your life because you don't know how to do it. You know, it's like, oh, it's like you have to do it with love and forgiveness in a certain way. So, you know, that comes with experience and listening to the spirit guides and whatnot. So it's like, yes, everything has to be done with love and ease and grace, right? And then there's also this a lot of people walk around with psychic daggers and they have no idea why they don't feel like they're feeling lethargic or they're feeling tired, or, it's just, I don't know why I have this constant pain in my back. Well, that's because somebody, I'm very
that in
empathetic.
clients all the time, just like it's constantly there, it never goes away, and we'll work on it through Thai, and we'll give them the awareness, and we try to identify the person. But
Yeah.
sometimes those blockages on the awareness scale are so hindered that they really need that extra assistance that you can provide on that aspect.
Right. I mean, heck, you can get a psychic dagger from the guy you cut off behind you.
I know, right?
Yeah. So
Yeah. So once they are on the mat, and I'm really excited because I've experienced this with you. So they lay face up on the massage table, and we have a infrared biomat that helps with inflammation, pain, arthritis, pretty much anything and everything, right?
They use it in Japan for cancer treatment.
Yeah. So we have one of those on the mat, and then we also have your buffalo hide.
Oh, yes.
Beatrice, which is part of your spiritual toolbox that you bring to the studio. And so you lay on top of this massage table and you lay face up, and you're completely just relaxed, checked out. And then Kim starts her process. And like, I know when I'm working next door, I love it. I get to hear the drumming going on, and then I hear the singing bowls, and then it just gets really quiet. And so that's when I know that you're in your space and you're doing your healing. And then, after a while you hear the bells, and then that's it. But it feels like you're going in and out really fast, but you could be laying there for about an hour or more, and you don't even realize
at least an hour. You are on the mat an hour. Yeah. So then after the initial client session, it is up to the client, and depending what we discover through our conversations and findings of what you may or may not need, then there's a maintenance package that, that is totally up for discussion.
Right. And I always say, and I know we all kind of have the same viewpoints at the studio, is that a single session isn't going to give you the lasting benefits. It's all about maintaining your journey. And, whether that's a journey specifically with Kim's work, or a journey with me, or a combination of the practitioners at the studio, it's all about the continuing of self-care, because when we lose ourselves, that's when the disease hits and we start going back into these like unserving patterns.
Right. And like I said before, it didn't happen overnight of how we got to this stage in our lives where we're reaching out. It actually is accumulating all through our life. So it takes a little bit to reverse that. It took you 40 years to get here. It may take a little bit to get rid of it. This is not a cure all. It's not a magic pill.
Yes.
And I tell my clients that, I send you home with homework. It's like you as the client will partake in your healing.
Right.
It's not solely up to me and the spirits to do all this work for you, because it's decisions, and you actually take part in it.
I think I would add to this. So I've experienced both your shamanic Reiki and like the traditional Reiki that you can go to anybody for, right? And one of the main differences that I see with it is the actual awareness of, I'm not going to just show up and have them work on me and like I just expect them to make me feel better. Like it is all about, we're creating awareness of why you're feeling whatever it is that you're feeling. We're giving you those tools to take home with you to work on it. But we're also creating this support channel for you that's making you accountable for coming back and showing back up for yourself and making sure you continue to say yes.
Right.
Like, I think that's the biggest difference, because when I have traditional Reiki, like they're just like, okay, have a good day. And I'm like, what?
No way. It's like, it's like I've been studying a very long time and been working with the spirits for a long, long time, to give you the experience that you're going to experience. And I also wanted to mention, because you triggered that thought in me, that we also empower you with the tools that you need to protect yourself and to learn that skill. Absolutely. It's like, no, I'm not going to send anybody out the door if they don't know how to protect themselves, how to ground themselves, how to remove some things on there. So it's a class as well.
Yeah.
You're learning. Mm-hmm.
I know people always look at our price points sometimes and they're like, oh my gosh, that's too expensive, or like, I can't do that. But if you actually like sit down and read what it is that we do with you and how much time we spend with you, like, it's truly because we want to take as much time as we possibly can with you to send you out the door, especially on that first session, with the tools that you need, especially if you do choose not to come back to us. Like, we're not going to harbor any ill will against you, but we want to make sure that if you are choosing not to come back, you still have your toolbox to move forward.
Right. Yeah, I morally could never do that.
No, me either.
Like, no.
So I think that kind of gives people a little bit of an idea of what they might expect from session and like why they might come in with you. So they can find all of your booking information directly on the Tranquility Rising website, so tranquilityrising.com. All practitioners have a new client offering. So if you're a new client, just head to that page and you'll find Kim's offering. And then from there, she'll explain, you know, all the options that you guys have with each other. Is there anything else that I might have forgotten or you want to add?
Oh, we do special workshops. So keep an eye out for our events that we do. There's a lot of things coming in from Spirit that I'm being guided to share and teach. So just keep an eye out for those events.
Yes, and you can find all of the upcoming workshops under events. And then if she's doing any specific trainings, they'll be under the training tab.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, absolutely.
Okay, cool. Well,
right.
Thanks for joining us today. And like I said, maybe in the future, we'll have a more in-depth scope of what happens and have that conversation.
Okay, that sounds great. Thank you, Ariel.
You're welcome.